Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you're doing well out there. So in today's video, we're going to be discussing the Guided Mystical Experience course that I'm launching on Thursday and going over what exactly is inside of the course so that you have a better understanding of what it is that I'm offering you and you can make a better decision for yourself about whether or not this is something that's going to be a good fit for what you want to do and for your process. So without further ado, let's start talking about it. So, like I said in the introduction here, today's video is going to be a discussion about what all is in this course. So, if you've been watching the channel for a while and you've been kind of keeping up with what I've been up to, or if you've been getting emails from me, you're probably already aware that I'm launching a course this Thursday, the 21st, which is the Guided Mystical Experience. And this is a course that I've been working on for about 6 months, give or take, maybe a little bit more, kind of chipping away at it here and there whenever I could. And I'm very happy with the result now, and I'm really excited to share it with you. And I wanted to just tell you more about what it is, because just by the title, it may be unclear whether or not this is something that'll work for you or be helpful for where you're at. So I want to give you a more in-depth explanation about what this course is, what it's designed to do. We'll go over some of the contents, the different chapters and aspects of the course. And I'll try to give you a clearer picture so that, again, if you are perhaps interested in the course, you're thinking about joining, you'll know what to expect more in detail. So without further ado, I'm going to just talk about it a little bit here, and then we will probably do a bit of a video preview where I'll kind of go through the different things, and I'll do a screen cap of that here with you guys. So that you get a really good sense of it. So the first thing I wanted to share with you about this course is, off the top, what is this? Why am I making this? Who's this for? All that kind of stuff. So first thing I want you to know is this is designed specifically to guide you into, so it's a pre-recorded guided session. That's what's at the heart of the course here. And it's made to guide you into a fairly reliable mystical experience state. So this is a course essentially of kind of virtual psychedelic guiding, if you will, for people who want to use classic psychedelics, right? So we're talking LSD, psilocybin, mescaline. This is not going to work with MDMA. This is not going to work with DMT. This is not going to work with those kinds of substances, ketamine, that are kind of psychedelic adjacent, or so short acting in the case of DMT that you can't really have a guided experience. This is for medium to long lasting classic psychedelics, right? And this is a pre-recorded guided experience to take you into a mystical experience that is a transcendent, non-dual, all one type experience, and then slowly guide you back into your regular default identity with this new experience in place, right? So it's meant to totally help you get to that spiritual essence of what, we all are, what every human being is. And quite honestly, that spiritual aspect of psychedelic experiences. I get a lot of communications, a lot of questions, a lot of, interest from people who are new to psychedelics or like psychedelics, want to take them and want to have spiritual experiences with them, but haven't quite yet really had that big, deep, profound, radically magical, mystical, beyond words, kind of experience that psychedelics are purported to deliver, right? And I know that they can. And so I hear from folks a lot. They're like, well, how do I get there? How do I have a spiritual experience? How do I have a non-dual experience or an ego death experience? Other questions I get a lot are, how do I do that safely? What's the right way to do this? How do I do this in a way that's not going to harm me? And so that's why I've made this course. I want to be honest with you guys that this is something I've been thinking about for over 20 years. This is something that I first experienced over 30 years ago now. And and it's something that's been in my heart as an offering to give to the world for quite a long time. As part of this, right? So that's kind of the what it is, right? That's kind of roughly speaking what it is. Also, part of what it is, though, is not just this guided, pre-recorded mystical experience session, which it definitely is. That's at the heart of the course. It's also a full package around that of support, right? So we've got videos on understanding kind of the traditions and the history. We've got videos on set and setting and how to like dial in your space and how to know if you're in the right mindset. We've got videos on dosing. We've got videos on dealing with logistics, whether that's, dealing with nausea on psilocybin, or whether that's, setting up your environment and, setting up all the things for yourself so you can have the safest experience possible. There's prep exercises, which I'm really excited to share with you, that are designed to help you open up your nervous system and know how to engage and let go. Because a big part of what makes a mystical experience is the relaxing, the opening, the surrendering, the unfolding, and letting go into the experience, letting yourself get absorbed, right? So we've got all these practices there for you to kind of do over and over and over to learn how to reach deeper into these kind of non-dual, open, surrendered kind of states, so you can train your nervous system before you have the experience. Then there's the guided experience, right? And then we've got, aftercare stuff. So we've got, stuff on meaning making and how to work with some of the insights that you've had. We've got grounding in case you had such a big experience that you're still feeling a bit ungrounded. We've got a whole section on integration. So that's, concepts around integration, frameworks for understanding integration, practices you can do to integrate, approaches to integration. So it's this whole well-rounded package from beginning to prep, to the guided session itself, to aftercare and support. So it's not just this pre-recorded guided mystical experience session. It's a whole piece of work, right? And that's why I'm super proud of it, because this is, quite honestly, when I was young, would have been the most amazing thing to encounter. This is the package I wish existed, right? And as far as I know, looking at the kind of the offerings in the kind of course space around psychedelics, I don't know of anyone doing a guided mystical experience specific course like this yet. So as far as I know, it might be a unique offering in the space. Even if it isn't, I'm really happy with the well-roundedness of this package. So there's that. Also involved in it is monthly support calls. So depending on how many people sign up, and how this goes, the idea is to do a Zoom call probably for 2-3 hours once a month, where we can get on and either talk about the experiences that we've had, or if we have a question about one of the exercises to prepare, or we want some reassurance beforehand, you can hop on the call and talk with others, talk with me. We'll do Q&A around this content, because we want a support circle around this. This is deep work we're doing. And it's, some of the most amazing conversations come out of this kind of, support around these kind of deep experiences. So I wanted to offer that as well. To be transparent here, how soon that first monthly call is going to depend on how quickly people sign up and how many people sign up. And whether or not we do more than monthly really will depend on how big the course gets in terms of people taking it. But the idea is, this kind of experience you want to take your time preparing for. You want to go slow, work, and it's going to be a deep experience before, during, and after. And so, doing weekly calls I thought about, but I'm like, I think that's overdoing it. I think this is the kind of thing you're not going to be doing every week, ideally. So we want you to take it seriously and go slow and really work this process. And so we'll have these support calls about once a month. So just to kind of sum up this section, and then we'll talk a bit about my intentions and why I'm making this. But what it is a full guided mystical experience session, right? It is a full set of preparation information beforehand and exercises to help you prepare for the mystical experience. Is a full set of aftercare instructions for grounding, for understanding cognitively how to work with the ideas and the insights that have come out of this, and integration, right? So it's a well-rounded package for people who want to go deep with this spiritual experience from psychedelics. So for people who want to have a truly mystical experience, And if you don't like the word mystical experience, you could think of an ego death experience, a white light experience, a non-dual experience, an out-of-body experience. These are all kind of synonyms, quite frankly. And it's designed for people who want that kind of deep, intensely psychedelic thing and want the real juice of what psychedelics are going to offer you. So that's what's on offer here. I'm so psyched to share it with you. Let's talk about why I'm making this. Then we'll look a little bit at kind of what the course looks like, what the contents look like. And then I'll kind of share some of my answers to some of the questions on the tail end of the video here. Okay, so let's talk about what my intentions are with making this. Why am I offering such a thing? Well, a few thoughts about this. So first of all, I know there are a lot of people out there, whether you're in other parts of the world, where there isn't a longstanding tradition of, psychedelic use and culture around that. Maybe you're kind of solo psychedelic in a part of the world where that's less common. There may be that you just don't have access to a guide, right? Or a guide that you trust, or you don't have access to this kind of work, or you can't afford a guide. I wanted to create accessibility for people who want to have and are intending on having spiritual experiences with psychedelics, but you're DIYing it essentially, right? So if you're one of these people who's really gonna just go after this type of experience anyways, and you're kind of doing higher dose psychedelic experiences, and you're kind of curious about the spiritual aspect of it and curious about mystical experiences and what you've heard from Terence McKenna or Ram Dass or Alan Watts, and that there's this ineffable thing there that you're hungry for. This is really made to support that kind of person, right? I also wanted to make something that was really well-rounded, because I feel like, what we see sometimes in psychedelic therapy are, these situations where you find a guide or a sitter, you take a big dose, they've done maybe one, session of prep before with you, maybe 2 sessions, and all of a sudden you're taking a big dose, and then there's like a session or 2 of integration, but there's not a lot of support around the experience, right? There's not a lot of understanding it from different approaches. There's not a lot of exercises and things you can do to really work with yourself to create a good, solid, safe container for a big experience like this. So I wanted to make something that was really well-rounded, that was really whole and complete. The book that this is drawn from initially is a 1963 book. And in it, there is a lot of information before about kind of how to prepare for the session, understanding the dynamics of the guide, this kind of thing. But I wouldn't say it's a well-rounded package of material. It's mostly just a bit of here's what we've seen around this practice, and then here's the instructions, here's the guidance, right? And so I want to make something that was much more modern, whole, complete, well-rounded, and kind of up to the standards of what we now know in terms of proper psychedelic support. Another reason here is that guiding is an interesting area in the psychedelic kind of, not even necessarily therapy space, but the psychedelic space, let's say. And there are a lot of psychedelic guides out there who it's not so structured, right? And it's very open-ended, or it's very adaptive, or it's based a lot on their belief system and on their point of view and what they feel is right for you. So the guidance isn't always grounded in what you need, or grounded in a clear relationship to the non-dual, let's say. Sometimes the guidance is more about these kind of spaces between default reality and the non-dual space. And so I want to give you what I feel like is a proper guided experience, right? Where the guidance is clean and clear, where the guidance is guiding you towards something that's, a knowable spiritual state and experience that isn't, about the guide's, views and ideas about reality, that isn't about, you and any projections onto you. That's this really clean, clear map. So for me, the map that this is drawing from, which is based on the Tibetan Book of the Dead, is the most elegant map that I've found of different states of consciousness. And I think it's incredibly clear and incredibly accurate. And so part of what I wanted to do here was offer that to you in a modernized, updated way that's really, again, like a proper guided experience from my point of view. I also wanted to do this because, there are a lot of people out there, especially if you spend time in places like Reddit or other places, where these people tend to kind of gather, who, especially young people, obviously, who are getting their hands on psychedelics and, have heard that you can't overdose and kill yourself on them. So therefore they are safe. And people just doing these crazy turbo doses and trying to DIY ego death, right? And doing it without even a clear framework or understanding of what ego death is exactly, right? They just hear this term, they hear, oh, you just like do high doses of psychedelics and you'll have an ego death. And they don't know how to get there. They don't know what it is that they're experiencing. They're quite frankly often overdosing on psychedelics to get there. And so I wanted to create something that kind of served as like an authentic, accurate experience of that, but also, is safer and kind of steers people more in the harm reduction direction, because this is already out there. It's already happening. It's scary. If I'm going to be honest here, I'm concerned for a lot of young people that I've been in the game long enough to know that young people are going to do what they're going to do. And if they get obsessed with psychedelics, sometimes people just go hard for a period of their life. And it's just kind of for some people, it's a rite of passage in their young adult life. But, it's at cartoonish levels right now. And I'm really concerned about it. And so I want to do this partially also as an offering for harm reduction. So people have an accessible place where they can, have a proper container built, a proper understanding of how to do this and a proper guidance around this, and have the experience that they're seeking without it being super risky and foolish and unsafe. The last reason that I can think of, in terms of why I've done this, what my intentions are, is to offer access to a reliable mystical experience. Right? So the other thing that you hear about a lot is people who accidentally bump up against a mystical experience, either through meditation or through, maybe they got a little too high on a psychedelic at a festival or whatever. They kind of end up having a non-dual experience, but they don't know exactly how they got there or, how to get back there, how to have that kind of experience again. So part of the intention of creating this course is to create something where, if that's the kind of experience you want to have, this is a reliable way to get there. This is a fairly reliable access point. Small spoiler alert, but also one of the prep exercises in the preparation section is, even without psychedelics, is also a very reliable way to have a non-dual experience. But, I'll let you discover that for yourself. So that's really my intentions here. It's really about harm reduction. It's about access. It's about reliability. It's about highest quality that I can possibly compile and bring together for you guys, all into one thing, into one space for you. So I'm really happy that this exists, and I'm happy to be sharing it with you. So with that being said, let's do a little quick look, right? So we'll kind of jump into a section of the video here where I'm going to kind of log into the course, and I'll show you what it looks like so you can get a sense of the contents of the course. And again, if this is something that's going to be of interest to you or not. So let's check it out. Okay, so here we are in the course, and I'm just going to kind of show you what it looks like, what some of the content here is, just give you an overall feel for, what's on offer here, and whether or not, again, this is going to be a good fit for, where you're at, what you want, what you need, and if this might be something that fits into your, say, path of using psychedelics. So when you log into the course, it's going to look like this. It's a real simple interface. It's all videos right now. I'm going to upload an audio soon of the guided session, but the way that this particular course is set up in Thinkific, there's limitations, so I had to work around that. So for now, the guided session is as a video, but essentially what you're going to see is a video, and then you're going to see all the different chapters and all the different videos. So we've got an intro section here, which has a welcome. Each section will have a welcome video. A little explanation on how the course is structured, a video about mystical experiences and understanding what they are. Then we move into the practices section. So we have two parts for prep here. We've got preparation in terms of practices to prepare your nervous system for this powerful experience. And then we have prep in terms of logistics, getting essentially the setting and the set and all the kind of details around the experience properly set up. And this is actually, a lot of practical stuff. We'll get into that in a moment here. So in practices, we've got, of course, an intro again, how to, then we've got 6 different practices here that are roughly speaking kind of organized sequentially so that you can kind of build a skill set here, starting with the most fundamental tuning into your own system, which is the practice of a body scan. Then there's, emotions of sensation, heart opening, heart awareness, tuning into spaciousness, watching the observer, and the wholeness, which is a powerful practice that I strongly advocate for in terms of preparation. From there, we pivot into, again, logistics. Logistics is going to be, again, practicals like, what to expect in terms of the arc of the journey, how long it's going to take, the timing, the sequencing, the set, again, from set and setting, getting your emergency preparedness right, which, might seem a little alarming. And generally, this is just good information to have all the time, but especially if you're altering your consciousness in any sort of way, all things going right, if you're taking safe substances that you've tested and you've done all the right prep work, there should be no need for emergency preparedness measures, shall we say, but to act on that. But it's important information to have in here. So I give my thoughts on emergency preparedness around a psychedelic experience. A video on how to deal with nausea with psilocybin. I know a lot of you are taking psilocybin as your main classic psychedelic of choice. So nausea can obviously be a real issue with psilocybin. So my thoughts and all the latest information I have on how to go about that. Then a video on dosing and timing, what we're looking for in terms of effects in the body, what kind of medicines to take, what the timing is on where to sequence the guided session so that you have a real clear understanding of how to kind of set this up for yourself. From logistics and practices, and again, the practices, my suggestion here is that you spend a good month doing the practices or a good couple weeks and really develop this capacity in yourself. And then, the logistics are a little more, within the week leading up to the session, you want to get those all lined up and set up properly. Then we have the journey section itself. We've got videos about the journey, understanding what exactly it is, the history of this journey, kind of the connection to the book that this is based on, and kind of the tradition, the wisdom tradition that this comes from, the guided session itself, and a little bit of a welcome home video after the guided session. And then we move into the aftercare section of the course here. And aftercare really for me is grounding, meaning making, and integration, but I've separated aftercare and integration into separate kind of chapters of the course here because there's just so much to integration that I want to really give it its own kind of segment. So we've got aftercare, and we've got, again, welcome, intro. We've got a long video on grounding and how to ground out if you got your bell rung, healthy sleep, spoiler alert being one of them there. We've got another one here on meaning making, how to deal with the cognitive aspects that can be really challenging from such a big, profoundly deep experience. And then we move into integration. And with integration, we've got mindsets here. And we've also got integration practices. So visualization exercises, integration exercises that you can do to really deepen the moments that were transformative for you and bring them into your nervous system more as a lasting feeling and embodied experience rather than just this far out thing you kind of, glimpsed and touched for a few moments and then has just kind of drifts off into the past of your life with all your other wild, strange memories. So overall, this is the whole course here. I'm trying to strike a balance here between quality content, like density of content here, where it's really like information rich, enough to support you, but also not so much that it's this super demanding, course that's going to take 3 months to complete and just more information than you're ready for. It's meant to be like a sweet spot between whole and complete and really supportive and robust in terms of the information, but also ultimately light enough on information that it's pretty easy to understand, apply, work at, and get the results, get the experience that you're after. So this is what the course looks like. So I hope that kind of clarifies that for you. Let's go ahead and get into some of the common questions that I've seen pop up around the course and kind of help you understand a little bit more, what this course is and isn't. So I hope that clarifies a bit more what this course is, why I've made it, and what to expect with it. So, this is really designed to support you if you're like a serious psychonaut. You're someone who really wants to explore psychedelics. You want to have this kind of mystical, non-dual experience that people talk about. You are, curious about the depths of what's possible with human spirituality, your own spirituality, what's there. This is for you. This is for those kinds of people. In terms of its relevance to the rest of your healing path, I want to kind of answer a couple common questions that I've been getting and kind of help you understand a little bit more, what it is, what it isn't, right? So again, it's built to be one approach, one access point into a very common use of psychedelics. It is meant to be a harm reduction tool. It's meant to be a full, complete package of support around this kind of experience for you to work at your own DIY pace. It's meant for you to go very deep and have a very profoundly spiritual type experience with this. So this is more an emphasis on the psychedelic side of things, on the dose side of things, on the spiritual side of things, right? This is less so explicitly therapeutic. I recently got a really good question on the channel, which I'm going to paraphrase here because I didn't screen cap it, from Sonic Druid. Shout out to you. So happy you're watching and engaging, which I thought was a really good question that I want to clarify here. So Sonic Druid asked something along the lines of, is this designed to teach you how to self-regulate through difficult experiences? To which I would say, in the most direct, simple sense, no, that's not really kind of the spirit or the approach of this particular course. This course is not explicitly about psychedelic therapy in that way, right? This is a different approach, which is more about psychedelic guide work than therapy work, right? And this is more a guided work into a non-dual, transcendent ego dissolution state, right? For the purpose of kind of that deep core reset, access point into the core of your being, touching the depths of your innermost self, knowing that place, feeling the beauty of that part of you, and then, coming back slowly back into your ego, back into your identity, back into your default mode of operating, with this knowledge, with this experience in place, right? So this is much more, again, to touch the spiritual. With that being said, in the instructions of the guided session, there is a lot of information there, about if you're feeling scared, if you're feeling alarmed, if you're feeling spooked, if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed, if you're feeling hung up on a thing that you saw or you experienced, whether positive or negative, there's guidance in how to relate to that and what to do with that. So while it's not explicitly a course about regulating through difficult experiences and triggers, there is guidance inside of it so that if you kind of get into an anxious corner in yourself, there is information on what to do with that and where to go with that. And I think, if I can be honest here, that knowledge, that information is incredibly valuable for the rest of your life and your relationship to psychedelics. So, what I found is when I went through this experience myself, it really, and I'll tell that I actually recorded a video about that, and then the audio was off, so I have to re-record it, but I will be doing a video soon about my own initial experience with this. What I found is it really formatted an understanding of how to work with psychedelics that has served me the rest of my life. So there are things you will learn experientially through the guidance that may have to do with navigating, upsetting emotions, negative emotions, anxiety, that became very, very helpful for me having successful psychedelic experiences moving forward. So there's that. But no, it's not explicitly about regulating. It's not explicitly about triggers or any of dysregulation or that whole approach to psychedelic therapeutic work. This is much more guide work, which is a different thing. So I hope that makes it clear. Another question that I get a lot from people, and maybe you'll know what I'm going to say based on what I just said. Another question I get a lot is something like, is this all you need for psychedelic therapy? Is this the wholeness of psychedelic therapy? No. Again, this is guided work, not necessarily therapeutic work, although if you look at the data, you look at the literature on mystical experiences, like the work that Roland Griffiths and Robert Carhart Harris and the crew at Johns Hopkins did about mystical experiences with psilocybin, what we see is it's had a profound therapeutic effect in terms of reducing anxiety and depression, even though there was no therapy done per se in those sessions, right? So in a certain sense, this is not a psychedelic therapy thing. This is a guided psychedelic experience, but it can end up having a therapeutic impact or effect in your life. So, is it useful in the scope and in the picture of a broader approach to psychedelic therapy? Perhaps. Is it specifically psychedelic therapy or specifically all you need? Is this it? You just have a big, profound mystical experience and then you're, all healed? I'd say for most people, probably not if you're pursuing psychedelic therapy, but it's always possible that someone has such a big experience that it changes everything and their symptoms go away and their issue goes away. So probably not is the answer to that question. So another question here, is this useful for understanding the root cause of your issues, right? So this would be another one. A lot of people come to psychedelic therapy expecting to get to the root cause, to know, why do I have the issue I have? Where did it come from? What was the event? What was the thing that happened that caused me to have the issue that I still have, right? I would say, generally speaking, this is not at all pointed in that direction. And if that's what you're hoping for out of this course, this would not be the course to get for you, honestly. So I would say, no, this is not really helpful for understanding root cause. This is much more going to tilt you in the direction, again, of having a big, profound, life-affirming spiritual experience that is more likely to give you a sense of feeling deeply resourced, to give you a sense of feeling deeply connected either to yourself or to all of life, to nature, to spirit, these kinds of things. And so it will resource you in the sense that it can take a lot of that sense of aloneness and isolation and the struggle of us kind of fighting all by ourselves against our issues. It can take a lot of the pressure out of that because suddenly we feel deeply connected to everything. But that shift, that resourcing, as useful as that is, as profound as that is not necessarily going to help you understand the root cause. The thing I would say, if you haven't seen a lot of my channel, you're new to my channel, you're new to my work, or just haven't heard me say this yet, is that you really don't need to actually know root cause in order to heal. But again, this is not a therapy program. This is a guided session for psychonauts, for people who want to explore their own psyche, who want to go deep, who want something that's well organized to support them in that process. So if you're looking to really get to the root cause of your issues, again, even though I think ultimately you don't need to do that, and that's kind of a misconception of therapy, this probably wouldn't be the thing for you. Okay, last question I'm going to answer here. What if it doesn't work, right? Especially what if it doesn't work that first time when I'm really expecting it? The good news is, of course, the course is here for you over and over and over. So, often there's adjustments we need to make, or just the initial exposure to the guidance at being on the medicine and all that the first time might be so much and overstimulating that we don't totally have the full transcendence we're hoping to have. The good news here, of course, is that you can do it again and again and again. It's not a one-shot deal. It's not like you can only do it once, and if it doesn't work, you're SOL. You can try as many times as you need to. And often what I find is, I've done this work with people in all kinds of different ways for years and years and years. And a lot of times what I find is people really have a bigger experience the second or third time they approach it. That first one sometimes is, holy shit, oh my God, life-changing, got the full transmission. But for a lot of people, there's a bit of anxiety, a bit of trying to find your way with it. And it's really the second or the third one when you're more familiar that's powerful. So if it doesn't work the first time, fret not. It's all good. It's okay. Also, for anyone who's really, really concerned about it or buys this and isn't clear if it's right for you, there is a refund available. So if you're, for whatever reason, you're like, I don't think this is right for me, you can get a refund around it. But I would strongly encourage you, if you're inclined in this direction, right? If you're inclined towards spiritual experiences, you're inclined towards exploring your psyche, you want to go deep with the medicine, you like psychedelics, you generally have medium to positive experiences with psychedelics, and you want to just go deep and you want to have that really that profound experience, I would encourage you to consider checking this out. I think you'll get a lot out of it. And even if you're someone who doesn't get the full breakthrough out of just the guided session, I think that the prep exercises and the integration exercises and the package as a whole is really valuable, probably for most people who use psychedelics. This is a combination of information that I've gotten from guide trainings and, firsthand experience and all my trainings in hypnosis and NLP and coaching. And there's all kinds of stuff that I've pulled together to bring into this that you may or may not know is there in the background, but this is really a cross-modality, cross-trained refinement of a lot of knowledge. So I hope you take advantage of it. I hope you enjoy it. I hope it does for you what's done for me, which is transform my life in the most beautiful, profound, amazing way. And that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care.